But we'll come back to it.
We'll do it another time.
We'll do it another time. First of all, I want to say welcome, everyone from across the world, all around the world, to the show here with Tommy Carrigan. That's not a droid. That's not a double. That's not a transhumanist, Klaus Schwabian thing. I know it says Tommy Moisky. I know. I can clearly see it says Tommy Moisky. Trust me, that's the real Tommy Carrigan. But he's making fun of a Ukrainian billionaire who has many mercenary armies called Kolomoisky, Igor Kolomoisky. Tommy Moisky, how are you? And welcome to the show.
The joke rapidly became less funny when you said he had many mercenary armies. I was like, oh shit. I'm making fun of the wrong person. Well, 2 weeks ago I was Tommy Kissinger, and last week I was Tommy or Putin, and so this week I'm Tommy Moisky because apparently I'm trying to get assassinated by someone from the Azov battalion or some Ukrainian paramilitary group. But yeah, I figured things are still kind of, I feel somewhat vindicated because I think it was last week I was saying with you, and you were kind of saying along with me, I was like, after 2 years of COVID, it definitely just feels like I can't believe anything that the media tells me, no matter what it is. And in the last couple days, we've been vindicated in that everyone from Snake Island is alive. The ghost of Kyiv is not real. Those pictures of Zelensky on the front line are from 2019. And even yesterday, that thing that CNN put out of that Ukrainian news chopper getting shot down by like a Russian surface-to-air missile was from 2021. It was from like last spring. So, yeah, in one short week, what took 2 years with COVID to see the narrative fall apart, it seems like it's falling apart now. And instead of 104 weeks, now it's falling apart in 1 week. So we're getting better at tearing apart narratives, I suppose.
And isn't that a beautiful thing? When false narratives last 104 minutes instead of 104 weeks, it means a lot less time where you have to spend out of work and selling off excess inventory from your bankrupt business.
Yeah.
This is basically an inconvenience during a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's dispensed with. It's, every once in a while, Tommy, you see one of those movies and doesn't have any big name actors, and you think maybe what the heck, it's on an interest area I like. Let's go throw the $3 down on Netflix. It turns out to be a dog. Okay? So what? 104 minutes out of your life, folks, to knock down false narratives versus, think about it. You sold off your children in the last 2 years. Your wife left you. You lost your business. You couldn't even have beer with your friends on Sunday to watch football. You're thinking about going into an institution and going on antipsychotic, antidepressants. I'm just saying them, Joe average, right? That's what's happened to you in 2 years and 104 weeks.
Yeah.
Right, with the lockdown. But this was only a brief blip, 104 minutes. It's a bad Netflix movie.
Yeah. And I was going to say that I always feel bad saying it because 2020 was such an awful year for so many people, either from COVID losses or being the victims of oppressive government lockdowns and restrictions. But 2020 was the best year ever for my podcast because everyone was at home. I could just get any guest I wanted. And I'm realizing more and more that it doesn't help that I started my podcast on December 12th, 2019, and I think the first COVID case in the U.S. was December 13th. So who is the direct benefactor of COVID? It's been me with my podcast, so it's only a matter of time before they close in on me.
The Tommy Moisky podcast. How many women have not gone out on that new date with that new instructor, aerobics instructor, not an aerobics instructor, but a personal trainer, right? Because he may give me COVID, right? And so they've stayed at home. They stayed at home and watched Tommy Moisky.
They've watched Tommy Moisky on podcast.
Instead.
Yes.
So they haven't necessarily gotten any better in shape over this period of time, this 104 weeks. But man, they are smart now.
Now they're smart, and they're probably
smart
a little closer to the edge of a psychotic breakdown as they taken my own psychosis through osmosis, and but with that, so yeah, but you also kind of see that, and like on more of like a serious note, like you do see it more on Twitter. Like it wasn't just me alone. Obviously, you saw that from a lot of people a week ago that were saying like, they're like, hey, I'm not claiming to know what's going on, but I don't think whatever we're being fed right now is what is going on. And there are a lot of people saying that. And I think there are a lot of people that had a little more kind of backbone and a little more confidence in saying that. We're like, hey, we just got lied to for 2 years. What's really going on with this? And yeah, we're seeing in a week just how quickly it is. It's not to make light of what's going on in Ukraine, but at the same time, you could see the wheels of the propaganda machine turning. Everyone was, I'm going to go take up arms. We're going to you. America needs to act now. I mean, you had so many soy boys on Twitter saying, we got to strike them first. We got to do a preemptive nuclear strike. Like, dude, it took 44 years of the Cold War to finally realize that there is no winning. You cannot win. Yet all of a sudden we have these geniuses that are like, I've got an idea. What if we just nuke them first? And it's like, dude, Curtis LeMay started toying with the idea in 1949 with Strategic Air Command. It never worked out. There are movies about it. What about War Games? What an intriguing game. The only way to win is not to play. Sorry, but
I like that. It shows that you have a depth of knowledge in wargaming, and that's what we need here on the Tommy Carrigan podcast. Let not a second go by where we don't have knowledge of war games. And let's do this. Let not a second go by where we don't have knowledge of Tommy's podcasts. And what we're going to do, this is going to be sort of a this is your life, Tommy, because you've done so much in your short life. We're going to go to your podcast now. We're going to go to Rumble. All bets are off, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to Rumble.
Oh, God.
We're going to Rumble, and we're going to look at Tommy's, it's a Tommy C podcast.
No,
What's your Rumble handle?
It's literally just Tommy's podcast.
It's Tommy's podcast. I'm looking right at it, folks.
It's as simple as a name as you can get.
And we've had a little bit of an internet hiccup. That's why you couldn't see the intro, but hopefully we'll play it a little bit later. But let's go down and go through these, because literally, seriously speaking, each one of these is a knock your socks off interview that people like InfoWars would beg. They'd knife their mother to get these things. And I'm not sure that Alex Jones might not have already knifed his mother because he didn't get these. But whether Alex knifed his mother or not, we have
10 minutes in, and George and I are already going for the defamation. I think last week or 2 weeks ago we blamed COVID on Leonardo DiCaprio, and
well, Tommy, I look at these things and I go, my goodness, look at these guests. I mean, let's start at the top. Let's go back up to the top, and there's us talking now. Let's just go to David O'Neill.
That first one was today. That was a guy from
play that one.
Balochistan. That went up like an hour ago. Yeah, he couldn't do an image for security reasons, but he basically explained to us the drug trade in Balochistan and kind of how it's still like remnants of the CIA.
Bordering Iran and Pakistan. Is that Balochistan?
Balochistan, I believe.
Right down there by the sea, the Asian Sea there, the Sea of Indian Ocean, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know.
Balochistan. Yeah, that's the Imran Awan drug route there. Here we go. Let's go ahead and play a little bit of this.
You don't need to play it if you don't want. I was going to say.
Oh, gosh. No. We get... Let's air this so we get the views and not you, Tommy.
All right, you can have them. Just so you know, there's no image with. So his name's Aga.
Aga.
There's no image because of security reasons, but I believe he was in the I think he was like a tank commander for Pakistan or NATO or something. So there's no image, so you're just going to hear his voice.
Okay. Let's see if it happens. I want to test our internet anyway.
And we are recording with.
No, I think your internet's shit in the bed.
Yeah. That's not good.
Yeah.
Well, let's try go a little bit further. I wonder if it's because I have a second internet going here. Let's try a different video. Here we go. I never want to get into a world where we have to turn off the guest in order to play a guest video, because that's not good, because then you lose the guest. That's not the direction we want to go. But, I see that my podcast with you, Tommy, are doing quite well.
They are. The one last week, Ukrainian U.S. biolabs, that one's coming up on 10,000 views, which I think out of all, 719. I think out of all 725 episodes, about 20 episodes have broken 10,000. So you're getting that's some
verified air there.
That's some primo real estate. You're getting up there with Malone.
And Malone owns the top 10 or 8? You did 8 Malone interviews, something like that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he owns the top 8, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's just like, 40,000, 30,000, something like that.
He's a magnet.
Yeah. No, he's huge. So let's go ahead and play. It seems like, we'll pick one. Tyrone, I see you scrolling through, but it seems like you're being very selective. He's not going to play one. He's just going to stroll through and show the ones that we did. Here's the Malone interview. How many? 48,000. Here we go. We're going to try to play this. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. These ads are kind of insert ads.
Yeah, they're terrible ads. Most of the ads I get are the most clickbaity ads.
We are.
And you have no control of that.
Recording with the two kings of...
Okay, there we go. Now, did that cut out, Tyrone, or did you move forward and scan forward?
I think your internet cut out.
Well, we could be getting that DDoS attack that they talk about so much.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah. Well, it's good to know that you did this episode, and now people will probably be stampeding toward Rumble to see that interview. You've 8 interviews, I think you've done, and you've done 2 Robert Malone interviews in the last week. True? 10 days?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. He loves you. How did you get on the inside track with Robert Malone?
I'm myself, for better or worse.
Yeah. But you must have got in early, and like sometimes the doctors say no more patients.
Yeah. I don't know. I had him on last July, but even then that was after he was on Brett Weinstein, so I don't know. Maybe he likes me. Maybe he feels bad for me. I don't know. Maybe it's like charity work. He's like, oh, this poor kid is trying to start a podcast. I don't know. But I think most people that come on enjoy the podcast. It's I try to make it as laid back as possible. Try not to be serious. So I can only imagine it's just kind of, it's fun. Who cares? I did a podcast yesterday with a guy in his, I think, 70s who made untold millions on Bitcoin in the kind of the later years of his life. We talked about UFOs and fecal matter transplants. He's starting like his own company to do like gut health. We talked about
yeah. I saw this guy, the gut health guy. Maybe we'll just go to the stills.
Yeah, it's
well, maybe Tommy will talk about something. We'll just go to the stills and make the stills big, and then we'll give Tommy tremendous amounts of advertising.
Yeah, he was he was wearing like a green screen jacket and just had like Hubble telescope shit flying on. But yeah, we started talking about Bitcoin, and then we jumped to Bob Lazar and Area 51 and Roswell craft, and then we somehow ended up on gut biome, and yeah, that was a crazy podcast for like 2. But again, that was the second time he came on. That was the second ever podcast he did, and he told me how much he enjoyed it. I think a lot of people maybe don't realize that like a podcast production doesn't have to be like an actual show, like 3, 2, 1, and we're here, and you have talking points, and we're gonna talk about. No, it can genuinely just be just 2 people sitting there shooting the shit. Like it can be. That's what it can be. I think that's what people enjoy. I'm not sure if it's me. I think it's the format of just being able to talk about whatever you want.
And this would be something that would accompany a beer or a nice cup of coffee, and you sit back and you relax, you kick your feet up, and you listen to Tommy Carrigan converse. Now we've got Dr. Jessica Rose and Matthew Crawford. Tell us about that. That looks like the VAERS. That looks like the adverse action thing.
They were the original, both statisticians, and they were the original. Dr. Rose is from Canada. I think she's a molecular biologist and computer scientist. Matthew Crawford is, I believe, a computer analyst or science. I don't know. I'm terrible with numbers. They wrote the first, I think, paper in 2021 using kind of their own extrapolations to allege that, and different data points to allege that there was 150,000 deaths in the United States from the vaccine alone. And that was like 6 months ago. And so we did an episode not even a week ago. And as my podcast does, it stayed on topic for a little bit. And then we naturally got onto Klaus Schwab and the Great Reset. And then actually I think we also talked about you and Ukrainian biolabs. And then it was just, at that point, it had become...
They know who I was?
I don't know. I think Dr. Rose does.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Well, Tommy, for all those news hounds out there, sometimes you get exhausted sometimes with reporting because it seems like hammering home the same point. There's 11 biolabs. It's run by the State Department. The DTRA is a kind of a State Department cutout. They're using diplomatic immunity, so that's how they're getting around all the rules. They're using countries that haven't signed the BWC convention to do offensive bioweapons. There's 11 of them. It's the old Nazis, west of the Dnieper that are doing the labs west of the Dnieper. It's the old, kind of Russian groups that are running the east side of the Dnieper. Here are all the locations. Here is the first ones that, Putin's going to hit. They're going to do Kharkiv on the lower Dnieper. They're going to do Odessa right away because they control that ethnically. They're going to do the Crimean ones quickly. They're going to close in a pincer movement on Mariupol. They're going to cut the other end off with Kharkiv and move down to Kiev. And then the final gem will be the Dnipro. And then they've got the 4 in the east that they're going to go after. The 3 in Lviv and then the 4th one on the jugular of the pipelines going toward Europe. It's obvious, anybody sitting down and looking at the chessboard, in 30 seconds comes up with that, right? This is clear. He's got 7. He's going to go for the other 4 here pretty quick, right? You think that everybody sees that when they sit down at the chessboard. But a lot of people sit down at the chessboard and they look at it and they go, wow, what interesting pieces. I wonder who's playing. Is George Webb playing, or who's George Webb? And so they go, this is an interesting game here. They see the pieces arrayed and so forth, but they don't know that we've been saying this for 5 years or 6 years.
Yeah.
So when we do a podcast, and it's topical now because it looks like Putin's doing the game plan as we've laid out, all of a sudden, a normal podcast that would get less than 1,000 on yours blows up to 10 times that amount.
Yeah. Well, again, I think, you can kind of see it again with everyone changing like their profile pictures to just blue and yellow and, I stand with Ukraine. And there's just sort of like, what do we do? Like, it was just 1 minute, it was just wear your mask. And then the next, it was the BLM fist. And then it was, I got vaccinated. And then it's I stand with Ukraine. I think more because these things are happening more and more rapidly, right? They used to be the profile picture changing shit that always used to just be for like shootings, right? Just mass shooting. We stand with whatever, the Bataclan in France, or we stand with whatever. But as it's becoming more and more wildly diverse, I think more and more people are starting to go, it does just feel like it's like that meme. It's the NPC, and they're just removing the chip, the COVID chip, and then they're just inserting the Ukraine chip, which is getting people to wonder what exactly the hell is going on. if Russia is so strong, and they are, I mean, relatively to the Ukraine, they are, what are Putin's real goals? Yeah, I think more and more people, I think there are just some kind of brain dead people who truly just think it's exactly what the news is telling them, and they don't think it's Uncle Sam beating the war drums like we have every year since Eisenhower gave his address. But kind of on that note, George, I want to ask you, what do you think about the Russian army or military forces shelling that nuclear power plant in Ukraine?
Well, these are the guys who brought you Snake Island. These are the guys who brought you
Ghost of Kiev.
Yeah, the Ghost of Kiev. These are the guys who seem to send Stinger missiles, which is, ground to air, folks. You're not supposed to shoot those into the side of an apartment building. You're not supposed to shoot from inside a hospital. This is we saw this so much with the white helmets in Syria. That's why I say all these reporters, these women reporters that I featured in 2014 during Syria, were the only ones who would actually go there and actually do on-site reporting. But when they went there and actually looked around, they said, hey, the white helmets are actually the people that are keeping the kids in the basement. White helmets are the ones that are running in the guns. The white helmets are the ones that are shooting the chemical weapons. They're hiding behind humanitarian cover, and they're the ones doing all the bad stuff, right? Vanessa Beeley from England was doing this. Eva Bartlett, Serena Shim. I knew her, talked to her mother. She was murdered, tortured by Turkish intelligence. Shifa Gardi was another one. She was murdered and raped and tortured by Turkish intelligence. But they all had the same story. Everyone said, it's poor white helmets. This is really bad. Let's go raise money for white helmets. And then they went there and they saw the white helmets guys putting the white helmets on when they went outside so they didn't get shot. And they were putting, the weapons in under the cover of on stretchers and blankets and taking them. And all the kids were hostages in the basement. And all the people were living and they told them not to move, otherwise they would kill their kids in the basement. And they were the human shields. They're doing the same thing. These Mujahideen guys that comprise the Azov army, they're doing the same thing that did in Syria, exactly the same. So you're going to see a lot of civilians killed because they're going to try to hit these Azov guys. And you're going to see a lot of civilians get in the way because they're going to use them as human shields. This is a replay. When you go house to house like this with the high rises, this is a replay of Syria. You were probably still in college in 2014 or not long.
I just graduated in 2013. Yeah.
Yeah. But so you haven't seen this movie before, but I've actually seen this movie many times. These Mujahideen guys, they just keep getting moved around. They just keep taking hostages in the basement. They just keep using the old women for human shields. They keep shooting stingers into their own hotels. There's no low here.
Yeah.
There's no low that they won't go.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I say Putin has to produce evidence.
Yeah.
He has to produce evidence. But, firing on the nuclear power plant, right, in order to take over the nuclear power plant, I would much rather have the nuclear power plant in Putin's hands than in the hands of Kolomoisky and these Nazis. Because they'll take the stuff and go, hey, do you want a dirty bomb to go off in Moscow tomorrow?
Or do you want one to go off in Kyiv and we say it was Moscow?
Both.
Well,
and there's no limit to these guys, what they'll do.
Well, and that's what's got me thinking. As soon as I said that, what do you think about it? I realized I was just saying how I don't believe anything from the news, and then like a moron, I was like, and then what do you think? I mean, a week ago, it was you were a soulless bastard if you said you didn't believe Snake Island and the Ghost of Kiev. Excuse my language. I know that this is a family show, but that was just 7 days ago, and it's already been completely voided. What do the next 7 days hold? Are we going to find out that it was friendly fire on the nuclear power plant? That's what I want to know. Is it's really, I can't believe really anything that's coming out. And then there's nothing more absurd than people saying, you know what, the United States needs to get involved. Like, we need to get involved. Like, this is Hitler 2.0. They're calling Putin a Nazi. And it's like, the Azov Battalion are literal Nazis. And not in like everyone I don't like is a Nazi. I mean, like Albert Speer, they do the same night vigils, literally have swastikas on their helmets, literally talk about the need for they had some new propaganda the other day where it was like them riding a horse and they're throwing like it almost looks like a trident, and it's through like a Ukrainian with the Star of David on it. And it's like, these are literal, not in the hey, every Trump supporter is a Nazi. No, I mean, these are genuine, actual Nazis, like in the realest sense of the word. And everyone's foaming at the mouth to go join them, to go join the fight with Ukraine against what they perceive as Nazis. And I don't know if you saw, but there actually was someone, there are a lot of people from like the US, kind of a bunch of soy boys just going over there. There was I think it was yesterday or the day before, some like Reddit moderator like went over there and was sending messages to his friends about like where he was with the Ukrainian soldiers. And one of the friends that received it was like a private message, posted it on Facebook. And some Russian sleuths saw it, and they got the geolocation from it. And they saw that the Ukrainian soldiers were hiding out in abandoned schools. And so the Russians just shelled every abandoned school for like 5 miles and eventually killed all these guys. Like, we're seeing real time, like, just how manufactured this whole thing is and how stupid these people are. I don't really know where I'm going with this. I'm just kind of spewing bile.
Well, I'll give you a classic example. Everything I've seen so far, I saw in Syria. That's why I go to these grand dames of reporting from the Syria crisis, because Ava Bartlett, Vanessa Beeley, Shifa Gardi, Serena Shim, they called all this shit out. It's, the humanitarian corridor that they opened in Mariupol, that's supposedly open at 9:00, and then they said the Russians fired on the convoy at 9:30. The reason why they didn't want a humanitarian corridor is there go all your hostages. Yeah. There go all your human shields. They're walking out. So the Azov Brigade fired on those men and women. They especially didn't want the men to go. Yeah. And they're going to press those men into the service. So, it's hard to watch. I just saw Time Women of the Year just came out, and Amal Clooney was one of the Women of the Year. And she was one of the big white helmet ones. And you just shake your head and go, they just want us to just believe this crap. Maybe we would have been this skeptical about Pearl Harbor if it would have happened real time, because we would be all like, hey, I've been watching the radar swarm from Midway Island for, 6 weeks. Even I saw it. Even I saw it, right? So it would be harder to get away, with this stuff back then. But this is really like Syria 2.0.
Yeah.
People would look at that. And the problem, here, the difference is the Spetsnaz know how to deal with this. And what I'm saying is, snipers, for instance, used to be able to, have like 6 different sniping locations, and then there would be 6 old women, in each of those 6 apartments. And then they would just tell the old women, stand by the window. If you don't, I'll kill you, or I'll kill your little kid downstairs, even though the kid's probably not even there. So they'll all stand by the window. Then they'll move between 6 different locations and fire. Well, the problem is the Spetsnaz guys can get in now with various things to enfilade them, and I won't go into the different technology, but there's a way of enfilading, getting behind the scenes to see what's happening and getting the shot inside the building rather than shooting from the outside. And that's going to be a real surprise for these guys, because it's like shooting fish in a barrel at that point.
What was the word you used? Enfilade?
Enfilade fire is when you're shooting somebody from the side, sort of shooting them in the temple. They think you're out this way. But enfilade fire is when you're like you flank somebody and then you look down the trench at them, This is how Sergeant York killed, so many Germans, because he was looking down the trench and enfilade fire, and he captured so many because enfilade, you have no protection. And this is the same thing when you get inside an apartment building and you punch a hole through the elevator shaft. So watch your elevator shafts, Azov Brigade, and watch all walls.
How can they?
Don't look out. Don't look out there. They're coming behind you, Azov.
What are they?
And they're coming up. They're coming behind you and to your back and to your left and to your right. So you better keep that in mind, Azov, as you're looking out for targets. Go ahead.
So wait, what technology do the Spetsnaz have that they can, like sonar, some sort of like sonar? Or?
No, there's a capability that I can put a device in an elevator well. Okay, that'll fix, and then it through various methods can punch a hole.
Gotcha.
When nobody's looking, and then I can have just a fixed gun there that you think it's a shrapnel hole.
Yeah.
So you don't know why, but if I have a camera in another location, okay, I can just hit the go gun. When something crosses my target, or it can be set so the motion detect. But the way they are going to do it is, but what I'm saying is, you get around the way you get a sniper to begin with is enfilade. That's your strategy, or completely behind, right? But when they realize that hiding behind the grandmothers isn't going to work anymore, there's new DARPA worked on these type of things as well as Spetsnaz. Then they're going to be like, oh shit, 2014 is not going to work anymore. So now we're going to have to actually shoot the grandmothers and throw them out the windows and say the Russians did it. So there's going to be an uptick in the
brutality
charges. Yeah. There's going to be an uptick here. Yeah. And the old way, in the old Syria, White Helmets way, ain't going to work. This is why they put Amal Clooney out. They as the Time Woman of the Year. They didn't think
who is that?
It would have been Amal Clooney is George Clooney's wife. They didn't put her out by herself because it would have been too obvious. Because everybody would have went, Syria 2.0, here we go. White Helmets using human shields again. Oh, I've seen this movie. Oh, they won't let the human shields leave, even though the Russians or the Americans are opening up humanitarian corridors. I've seen this movie, right? So that's going to end because that whole problem has been studied. And you always tend to fight the last war, right? Yeah. These groups always tend to fight the last war.
Yeah. Now, do you think we're really it's no secret all of NATO is doing it. They're just through proxy arming, right? We're giving them weapons, giving them supplies. Like that's a given. Do you think if the U.S. really wants to get in there, if the military-industrial complex is just really jonesing for a hit, do you think we're going to be in there with like the CIA Special Activities Division or something? Are we going to try to pull it in? Because, if it seems like the kind of first week, maybe first 10 days of the propaganda, like we said earlier, it's not working. People are going, wait, what the hell? Everyone from Snake Island is still alive. The ghost of Kyiv isn't there. They're going to turn it up eventually. And then the best way to turn it up, best for, the Azov battalion, but not best in a good way, would be to stop with the propaganda and actually start delivering results. Even if those results are false flags, you want to start actually delivering bodies. That it's not like the ghost of Kyiv or like an old picture of Zelensky from 2019, but actually start throwing the grandmas out of the windows. Do you think we're going to see an uptick in the brutality and blame it on, and then that's how they're going to try to garner all of Western support? You can't. Yes. You already see it floating around. Neutrality is going with the enemy, and it's like, no, neutrality is. I just saw 2 decades of the United States in a quagmire, and I've interviewed a lot of the veterans, some of whom are amputees, most of whom have PTSD. Like, excuse me if I'm not necessarily foaming at the mouth to go get involved in an even bigger one. But you think we are going to see an uptick in that?
Absolutely, because they're going to try the last war, the Syria methodology. Same group of people, by the way. Azov moves all around where the Mujahideen moves, Kolomoisky moves them around on his Antonov 225. They know they can't get out.
R.I.P. Antonov 225.
Yeah, and R.I.P. Antonov 225. They know they're trapped now. So they're going to fight tenaciously. But there's no Kolomoisky coming to get you. All right? And the second thing is, don't forget, we've been dossieing your ass for 8 years. As you've been shooting the grandmothers in Donbass, you sniper guys, DeBrennan and company, we've been dossieing your ass for 8 years. We've had facial recognition on your ass for 8 years. You think we don't know where you are? You think we don't have advanced spec ops ways of dusting every piece of clothing you own and every piece of every car you have, every motorcycle you have, every bicycle you have? You think only the Americans and only DARPA have that? Right? Smart dust? No. The Russians have it as well. Yeah. And they've been dossieing for 8 years. So every horrific murder that you committed when you burned people at the trade union alive, guess what? There's social media all around. And your little face box had the FR hit it, and we've been dossieing you for 8 years. Okay? We are going to find you. And if you commit an atrocity, and I'm talking right now to the snipers right now, the guys hiding behind in those apartment buildings right now, I'm talking right at you, okay? You go kill one, you're going to kill one of your family. You kill a little girl, your little girl is going to get killed, right? You go kill a grandmother, you throw a grandmother out a window, your grandmother's going to get thrown out a window because your ass has been dossiered, okay? I'm talking right at you, DeBrennan. You hear me, DeBrennan? Your ass has been dossiered and your whole crew has been dossiered.
So,
do you know? I'm just sending you a signal, DeBrennan. Just sending a signal. Just for you. Okay? There you go. So Tommy, I love it when we can send signals.
So do you know this for a fact?
I know it for a fact.
Oh shit.
It's gonna happen. And it's going to happen right here on Neighborhood News Hour. The beautiful part about this, Tommy, is...
That's how these podcasts are going to accelerate. Like, Tommy and George started, like, back in summer 2021. I think the first episode, Tommy was wearing a Winnie the Pooh shirt. Man, it went dark in less than a year. They were, like, live streaming it. They were just...
We played music all morning. I just think these guys...
Yeah, no. Yeah, I get you.
When the Nazis were shooting little girls in the head after they raped them, yeah. They thought, hey, this is fun because there's no consequences here. Yeah. The last 8 years when they've been doing this, raping somebody and then setting them on fire and then throwing their body and having the jokes and the jollies and the laughs, it was all a bunch of fun. It's good Nazi fun for the last 8 years. Mm-hmm. All right? Talk to those guys now in the last 7 days. Talk to them now. Okay? How was your last 7 days? Okay? Get cute. Now you get cute inside the apartment buildings, then see what happens. The whole last 7 days is going to look like a picnic. Tommy, last night, I was in Little Ukraine. Okay, Little Ukraine, the most ethnically Ukraine ethnic population in the United States. Maybe only Chicago, Illinois. Okay. I went to, my sister lived there for most of her life. I spent the whole night with Ukrainian people. Okay. I told them the battle was not against the people of Ukraine. But I told them, if you have these murderers and thugs in your group and you let them do what they've been doing to Donbass the last 8 years and you did nothing, and you do nothing now not to point them out, then there will be collateral damage. Putin does have the right to go in and get these bastards. Putin has a right to go in and... We would do the same damn thing. Tell you, let me just ask you. We're right here in Michigan. We're right here in Detroit. Let's suppose a whole bunch of mercenaries were hired in Windsor, and they were coming across the Detroit River in their little speedboats every once in a while. And then they would rape and kill some people and burn some people alive, right? 50 or so at a time. And then they would have their jollies, throw the beer cans out the, the Detroit River on their way back to Windsor. And they did that for 8 years. And let's say they got our family. Do you think, and let's say we got their facial recognition, let's say we dossiered them. Do you think we would go, hey, you know what? Since Tommy and George are over there in Windsor cleaning that crap up now, we've been attacked. And now everyone should wave a Canadian flag. And you should put a Canadian flag on your car window. And you should have Canadian flag lapel pins. Because Tommy and George came back to exact retribution over the last 8 years of this border war. Right? No. This is exactly what the Nazis did when they went after group after group after group. They appealed. There was a Nazi flag while they were committing all the atrocities. But what happened when there was somebody
who would fight back or do something back?
Then out came the German flag. Then it was Deutsche über alles. They flew the German flag. They appealed to nationalism.
Yeah.
It's not Nazis that are killing all these people. It's the German flag.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah. That's what
this is the same technique. Same technique. And I love it when we can tell them that this is not going to be Syria and Amal Clooney is not going to save your ass this time. I love telling them that. And the women are afraid. The Ava Bartlett's are afraid, but she's poking her head out now. The Vanessa Beeley's still afraid. She's going to poke her head out pretty soon. Shifa Gardi's dead because they know that these people end up dead. Serena Shim is dead. But these brave women are going to be the first ones who are going to tell you what's really happening.
Do you know one of the strikes I got on YouTube? See that first paragraph? Freely discussed under the company's dangerous individuals and organizations policy. For everybody listening, it's talking about how Facebook has banned basically discussion of the Azov battalion because they're neo-Nazis, and now it's saying that they're allowing it because they're fighting the Russians. Do you know one of the strikes I got on YouTube was because I was listed as a dangerous individual and organization because I had on some military guys that said, hey, if anyone comes, this was summer 2020, they said if anyone comes to your property during the riots and intimidates you, like, stand your ground. That episode where they just said if anyone comes on your property where your little kids are there, yeah, shoot back. I got a 2-week suspension for hosting dangerous individuals and organizations. But neo-Nazis are now allowed on, but by their definition, right? Because I've been called a Nazi, shouldn't I be allowed back on YouTube and Facebook then? Shouldn't I technically, have they backed themselves into a corner? Am I a neo-Nazi and thus they have to let me back on? Your move, Facebook.
I mean, I'm so glad you brought this up. Because I hear you knocking on the Overton window. I hear you knocking on the Overton window. And the Overton window is a guy I ended up going to school with.
Pushing it open.
Yeah, push open the Overton window. Overton window is what you're allowed to talk about in the media, right? Yeah. The Overton window says you can't talk about Nazis till Putin puts one toenail into Ukraine. Then Nazis, you can put them on your Facebook account. You can put them on put bumper stickers. You can fly the Nazi flag.
Amazon selling Azov Battalion shirts now.
Great. Awesome. These people, I mean, are the direct descendants of Stephen Bandera to Lebed. They were blood and soil, which is blood and soil, meaning you don't get the soil without the blood. You don't kill anybody. You don't get the land, right? And they are neo-Nazis. Now, the good news is the special forces have thought all this through. They thought it all through. And it's not going to end up well for Kolomoisky. We've been calling Kolomoisky out for 5 years. We've been calling the biolabs out. These guys have been doing the bioweapons, thinking bioweapons going to be their ace card. Oopsie, oopsie, oopsie. We published the addresses how long ago of these 11? We said the ones that we thought were doing the most heinous bioweapon offensive things, Mariupol, Kiev, and Odessa. Guess who comes out 2 days ago? Foreign Minister Lavrov, and said the ones that really bug the shit out of us are the new one in Kiev and the new one in Odessa. This was upping the game into pandemic. You're going to find out when this is all said and done, those NATO Nazis who were active in Zimbabwe and South Africa, that was a test. Wuhan was a test. Wuhan military games was a attenuated test for this, for taking back Crimea. You're going to see sea spray. This is why sea spray was big for us last week, Tommy, because there was sea spray in Crimea. There was going to be sea spray used in the Donbass for real, with the real stuff, the non-attenuated stuff. And we're right in the heart of it. And we're outing it. And sorry, you lose Kolomoisky. Tommy Moisky's here on the scene.
Tommy Moisky, not to be confused with Kolomoisky. He is I am his superior. He reports
Yes.
to me. But so I was thinking though, and for the Spetsnaz watching, I'm absolutely kidding. Don't kill me. I'm just doing a podcast. Leave me alone, please. But it got me thinking. So if the Azov Battalion are allowed praise because they're fighting the Russian forces, the evil Russian forces, right? Shouldn't technically, so we've now defined Nazis as in the Overton window that they are stunning and brave and progressive because they're fighting the Russians. And if I'm defined as a Nazi for being conservative in 2022, and then if the BLM founders have openly admitted to being Marxist, aren't they technically now justifying that I should be fighting them? Because if I'm technically a Nazi, which according to them I am, and we are now saying that you can praise the Azovs for fighting the Russians, then shouldn't by the transitive property, shouldn't I be praised for fighting vowed Marxists? I'm pretty sure by default I was just given a green light to go into Seattle and just start mowing them down. I think I just got a green light. Zuckerberg, hear you loud and clear, brother. I'm on my way.
Well, you'll remember in my
be a lawyer.
In my speech here, I only want to throw flowers at the Azov guys.
Yeah,
I only want to throw flowers, but I will let you know that every flower has a little dust on it, does it not?
So
every flower has a little dust on it, does it not? So I'm just saying there may be a little dust on the things that you think you're wearing that don't have any dust on it, like nanoparticle sized dust. You think you're safe? You ain't safe, brother. And go ahead and do an atrocity and get your whole family killed. Go ahead and do an atrocity today, Azov, because you'll get your whole family killed. Guaranteed.
So
guaranteed. If that sounds like a threat, it's not, because nanotechnology. Think about the great things nanotechnology has brought to life.
So do you think that, now let's pull it back. There's Kyiv, pull it. No, I don't give a shit. I mean, I'm banned from YouTube anyway. We can talk about whatever.
I only throw flowers, Tommy. We only throw flowers here.
We throw flowers. Well, technically, I don't know what's real anymore if we're allowed to praise the Azov Battalion now, because I don't want to. But I mean, if it's the new Yes Queen, I mean, right back to that though, right? Is it still cool to punch a Nazi? So
no,
it's not cool. That's not trendy anymore to punch a Nazi.
No, you got to get the shirt.
Oh,
buy the Azov Brigade shirt.
Okay,
and you got to get the Azov Brigade bumper stickers.
You know, you always try to fight the last war. I'm always trying to be part of the last progressive wave. I fell behind in 2020. I thought we were being patriotic because of COVID, and it turned out no, you have to punch Nazis. And I was like, shit, I'm a Nazi now. And now I'm trying to let's kill Nazis. I'm on board now. And now it's no, Nazis are stunning and brave. And I'm like, wait, I thought we should withdraw from in the Middle East. And they're saying, no, we got to go occupy Ukraine now. I really am just always fighting the last progressive meme war. I don't know what to do anymore. But
well, I got some great news for you, Tommy, because we're men of peace.
Yes.
You and I are men of peace. We would never, ever do anything violent, even if those bad old people came from Windsor on the Windsor Ferry and were raping and killing all of our kids. We would laugh. We would just throw flowers at them, and we would welcome them in because they're heroes, right? Because Facebook told us that these Nazis are heroes. So we'll put on our website, Love Azov, right? But I wanted to let you know that we might retry this little music thing that we put together to just show you how comfortable and calm and placid and serene that neighborhood news is, and how pacifistic or whatever it is, pacified or nonviolent we are. And Tyrone, I was wondering, can we try that one more time in honor of Tommy? I just want him to see where we live, see our building, see our, fair city here. Tommy, do you mind if we give this a go here?
Okay,
and if you want to go to the bathroom, here we go.
Oh, you read my mind. I might be running to the restroom.
Okay.
But no, I was just thinking we should make a shirt that says, like as of 2022, but like as of instead of as of, like as of 2022, Nazis are cool.
I love that. As of, I like that.
As of 2022.
The as of shirts. I love it. The as of shirts. Okay, well, that's not going to work. So
don't worry about it.
We're having some internet issues today, which is surprising me because
Yeah.
I worked all morning on this. I got up this morning really early. I said, I want to have a musical interlude for Tommy, for the Tommy show. But it's not always going to happen.
So I'm thinking about the Russian invasion, though, right? I mean, the general kind of mainstream narrative, right, has been that they're taking, was it Lubyansk? What are the two spots?
Lugansk
and
Donetsk.
Donetsk, yeah. That was kind of like the mainstream narrative, correct? Putin bad man, Putin want this land, Ukraine say no. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, and then if you overlay like the bombing areas and the shelling targets, you're finding that there are U.S.-Ukraine biolabs there. So that's kind
around it. I don't think Putin's hitting it directly to push it all.
Ukraine with a Ukrainian television station.
So
we got a great map here. You think it's going to play? No. Go ahead.
So
okay, we'll just share the picture. Go ahead.
Well, so it's like the first one is like what the media tells us. They're taking those two areas because he thinks it's his. The second is what we talked about last week, the overlaying of the U.S.-Ukraine biolab areas in the conflict areas. And now the third kind of narrative I'm getting is that this is in response to 8 years of Azov, I guess, genocidal activities. Are they killing two birds with one stone? Are they going in to get evidence of U.S. bioweapons research as well as going to take out the Azovs? Was this entirely about the Azovs? And then on the side, they're also going to go in and get the U.S.-Ukraine biolabs. What is actually going on?
I have this fear that this is actually all just a school play. And, Putin's working for Klaus Schwab too.
Yeah.
And we're going to get you $50 billion, and Kolomoisky's not coming to justice. And we're just going to move the bioweapons because Neighborhood News figured it out. And when this is over and when Russia withdraws, they're just going to build better labs with the money they get from Congress. Adam Schiff's going to send them another $50 billion. But I want to believe in a world where there's a little bit of justice and these Nazis come to justice for the last 8 years. Maybe I'm just kidding myself. It's just another trust operation. We'll see. But again, it's not like we sit in our bunkers and use old women as human shields. No, I actually go to Little Ukraine and I immerse myself in Ukrainian people. And I explain my points of view. I went to a beautiful Ukrainian church last night and spend time explaining the history here that you've had embedded in your country. It's like the Nazis started as a very small segment of the population and nobody called them out. And they just kept co-opting and growing their footprint. And then every time they got attacked, they always waved the German flag and said, bad, whoever it was that responded to their attacks, they said, oh, they're attacking us. And it's amazing how this simple formula just keeps working.
Yeah.
Until till the special forces techniques catch up with it, which I think they are. But we'll see. They don't have, Russia certainly doesn't have all of the rats out of the sewer yet. They're about half done and they got to keep going. But all these could be bloodbaths, because these guys in the high towers. Look at Syria. They'll kill everybody. They'll kill every person to the last person, little girl, baby, everybody. They'll kill everybody in the building and say the Russians did it. They won't leave one left before they go through the whole building. So I do think these things could be a bloodbath. I do think there's some new special forces techniques that will surprise them. And I do think there will be reprisals now where there weren't before on the families of people who commit these atrocities. But for the most part, I think they're going to try Syria 2.0. That's what I see happening here, Syria 2.0.
Do you think that we are going to see... Do you think we're going to see a use of bioweapons? Because I feel like what we're going to see is the sort of... It's like swine flu didn't work, and they had to come back stronger with COVID. I feel like that they're realizing that the propaganda is really not working. It's grabbed a hold of some people, right? I stand with Ukraine, just kind of a bunch of mouth-breathing, brain-dead morons on Twitter. But are we going to start to see them? I know I kind of asked this earlier. Are the Azovs, are they going to step it up a notch? I think yesterday the State Department said that, they're preparing for like the assassination of Zelensky so they can, input a new leader or something. It sounds like they're kind of prepping the public consciousness for Zelensky getting whacked. Is there going to be something? Is there going to be some new activity that's really going to try to grab the global public consciousness by the balls? Like, a couple shells weren't enough. They're kind of inching towards it now with like the nuclear reactor. They're like, look, they're doing Chernobyl times 100 trillion. Oh my God. Do you think that they're really going to have to pull out all the stops to get Western support or the support of the masses for an all-out NATO intervention, which does kind of seem like some great reset shit? So are they just trying to set the stage for, I don't know, wiping out billions of people?
Well, remember, these are Nazi mercenaries that can always escape easily. And they also know the vaccine. They also have the universal vaccine. So they're not going to die from any bioweapons that get released. I think the big surprise here was the lightning strike by the Russian special forces to get air dominance, because getting the airports is the key. Mm-hmm. And they have air dominance. You can't even fly a helicopter in Ukraine, right? So this is, I think, why they want a no-fly zone, because you can't release the bioweapons unless you have a platform. Now, people can say drones. They could release stuff with drones and disperse. But right now, there's an H1N1 outbreak, huge, in Western Ukraine, because the Russians. Yeah, right now. Yeah, and so I definitely think that, talking to Paul Cottrell and stuff like that, it could be still that the flu spike is what's killing people. You can always put the flu spike into a bacteria, and you can put the corona there as the bogey, right? So everybody's going, how do we, let's get the trillions for the corona vaccine, but the thing that's actually killing people, because the thing can't distinguish, the PCR can't distinguish between the flu and the corona. The flu spike is what's killing people. So I believe they already did release in Western Ukraine H1N1. There's a huge outbreak right now.
Didn't Fauci say yesterday, I think, that we should be concerned about a massive tuberculosis outbreak? I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, but, I think what he's saying is they may go to the anthrax and a bacteria-based. But tuberculosis is kind of an empty threat, I think, unless they've weaponized tuberculosis. But everybody's got a TB shot. It's pretty... not everybody's got the anthrax vax, right? Mostly soldiers only have the anthrax vax, the 6-course anthrax vax. So if you're the Azov Brigade, you have a much better chance of creating a pandemic and blaming the Russians if you release anthrax from the biolabs you still have, because your soldiers are vaxxed, right? And then you could say, hey, the Russians did it. We stole it from the Almaty lab, which used to be a biopreparat lab. And so we know we can do a signature strike on the Russians and make it look like they did it. So, and that's anthrax. Ken Allebeck, you've interviewed him many times with the bentonite backbone, the silicon dioxide backbone, the aerosolizing backbone. That's what I think you're going to see. And they love anthrax because it sporulates. It'll survive the cold temperatures in the winter. I think Fauci is covering for the anthrax. If they're going to do it, it's going to be anthrax.
Or is Fauci just trying to get back in the limelight? Do you think he's jealous? Do you think Fauci?
No, I think he's the rodeo clown. I mean, Fauci's going to be sent in as a rodeo clown. Tuberculosis is almost a childish thing to say. Everybody, the TB vaccine's been around how long? I got it as a kid.
Yeah.
It's not the threat. It's going to be anthrax.
Now, I don't know if you saw this yesterday, but apparently even in relation to like supply chain collapsing and rebuilding and COVID, like everything's gone up, right? Obviously there's inflation, obviously there's supply chain. Like, great reset aside, like there is just in general, right? Things are going up because of really the events of the last 2 years. But even in relation to that, there was a near in like the last 48 hours, like a vertical spike in the cost of like grain and wheat. And now you got to think about like, so it's not just that oil is going up, right? Even you have Elon Musk, I think last night, calling for the immediate like emergency drilling of our own on our own land because extraordinary times call for extraordinary measures. Well, what's the next thing? It would be we need to produce more of our own grain, our own wheat, and import less, or help export more to Europe, and that's where And what gets me thinking, Bill Gates owning the majority of farmland in the U.S. So does that slimy demon have a hand in any of this?
Well, I think all these things are state-sponsored things that are behind the cover of John Malone at Discovery or Bill Gates or whatever. They're just front men for, hey, we need to plant a new GMO, whatever. You know, the Flavor Saver tomato was just the start, but all the Monsanto corn and so forth, so that we'll have a safe food supply.
Yeah.
Right? And this will force the farmers to all buy in. You know, with these threats to the food supply, they'll all have to buy into the GMO, which is another kind of Nazi dream. They have to get all the food from us, right? I mean, this is the Nazification of everything. You know, if they could figure out how to Nazify drinking water, they would, right? They tried with synthetic tobacco, and they have it with the sugar now.
They're coming after our precious bodily fluids.
Sterling Hayden, a lot of people, you know, there's arguments, there's gnashing of teeth over Sterling Hayden's performance in that movie. But what you look beyond is the great performance of Peter Sellers in that movie, where he plays, I think, 3 roles. He plays Kissinger with Dr. Strangelove. He plays a British person, and I think he also plays the President Adlai Stevenson with an American accent. And George C. Scott also turns in a darn good performance. So why Sterling Hayden? Why is it always Sterling Hayden? Why is everybody always beating the drum for Sterling Hayden? Let's give George C. Scott a little credit. Let's give the great Peter Sellers a little credit, who also died very young. Because what did it do? It criticized the character. You mentioned him already. George C. Scott's character was spoofing Curtis LeMay.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who wanted to bomb.
Yeah.
Japan.
Yeah. Or precious bodily fluids.
Well, and precious bodily fluids comes from, you weren't alive then, and I wasn't either, but I was not born long after that. There were people who were really afraid of the drinking water supply. That the fluoridation of water is characterized, is lampooned in the movie. Boy, I wish we had internet. We could play a little bit of Sterling Hayden. I will say something. I'm estranged from my brother, but 8 or 10 years ago, I haven't talked to him in 3 years.
Why?
But well, it's a long story, but I've made overtures, but I gave up maybe 5 years ago.
But not to pry, but you've tried.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
I even tried to play peacemaker between him and this filmmaker, and that didn't go anywhere. But I can understand.
I was gonna say, because I was in a fight with my brother and hadn't talked to him in a week in 2014, and I went out of town to visit my girlfriend at the time, and during that time is when he took his life, and that's something that always still. I've told you about that, but so whenever I hear people that are like, yeah, I'm in a grudge with I'm like, you have to try to make peace. Now, if you've tried to make peace, you're good.
I have.
But I always try to point that out to people. I'm like, just kind of learn from my own mistakes.
I try.
As long as you've tried.
I did a lot. I tried to be peacemaker, and I ended up getting sued.
Yeah. Well,
finally, 5 years, I ended up getting sued.
All right. Well, fuck me. Yeah. No.
No.
I get you.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, it is.
But my brother tried his hand. My brother was an actor in high school. He had some good roles in high school, and but he played Sterling Hayden, and did I wish I had the film of it with Mandrake, with the cigar.
Mandrake.
Let me tell you something, Mandrake. You know how your hardcore commie thinks, Mandrake.
1,500 megatons, Mandrake.
Right now, Mandrake, the Joint Chiefs are convening a meeting to decide whether or not to go by the fail-safe point. And Mandrake, they're not going to, because they can't recall the squadron, Mandrake.
Wing attack plan R.
Yeah, wing attack plan R. And here's Slim Pickens. Everybody demeans Slim Pickens. Who won an Oscar later on for some unknown movie. And he's the guy who rides the missile down to Laputa.
Colonel Khan. Yeah.
You know who also was good in that movie? I'll just be right out. Be honest.
The whole movie was incredible. Every part
the
of
whole movie. Keenan Wynn. Now everybody says, "Oh, Keenan Wynn, he was a bit Disney actor who always said, hey, chitty chitty bang bang, can't take one more bang bang." He was always the frustrated mechanic with chitty chitty bang bang. Oh, I don't know if the chitty chitty will be able to make it around the block again. Well, Dick Van Dyke will say, no, we'll just fly it to like London. Don't worry about that. It doesn't have to actually go around the block. We'll just fly it to London because it's a special car at night.
It's just a fever dream.
It's a fever dream, right? This is when cars could fly.
Yeah, the good old days.
But so there's Keenan Wynn. But Keenan Wynn in that movie plays one of the commandos taking over the base. This is very similar to what's happening right now in the Ukraine. So if you have time, go watch Dr. Strangelove. It's a Cold War classic, right? And anyway,
that is the whole purpose of the Doomsday device. You have to tell everyone. It would be 50 to 100 megaton bombs laced with cobalt, thorium G. Why would you keep it a secret?
We were waiting for the premier's birthday. Oh my gosh.
You're still fighting in the war room? You took a picture of the big map.
Look, here's the big board.
We cannot have precisely the point. Why would you keep it?
This is what we're going through right now. This war gaming.
This is just the live disintegration of George and mine's psyche.
The alternative title for the movie was "How I Came to Love the Bomb."
Yeah, I know.
So maybe ours would be "How I Came to Love Bioweapons."
Yeah, but seriously. But even now, though, it's kind of like, well, technically, if we're supporting the Azov Battalion, Mein Führer, like that. Apparently, that's the Overton window shifted. He doesn't have to pull his arm back down now. You're allowed to be yourself. Let it fly.
He has a wheelchair. It's all good.
We cannot have a bioweapons gap.
Well, maybe it's going to be bioweapons death is going to be better
I don't know. We're all going to die sooner or later. later. Make
But
make
let
use
me
with your
give you a
creativity.
little
Yeah.
cameo. Let me just give you a little vignette, a little cameo that I think you might not remember, or you might remember. But they can't get the phone line is it's been cut at the base, sort of like the Kirtland Air Force Base. We covered a story where Kirtland is the head of the DTRA, or the new training base, the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, and they're the ones that track and manage all these loose nukes, and they always seem to be losing nukes. And Isaac Cappy always seems to be having a party with a bunch of pretty girls, and they're always being filmed with the generals, and the generals are losing track of their laptops, and then all of a sudden the nukes and bios go missing at Kirtland in New Mexico there. But having said all that, this and in the movie they make fun of LeMay because he's with some blonde. You know, he's not doing his job. He's where he should be at the Pentagon. He's off with some blonde. But the bottom line here is they have to call the Pentagon to tell them to call back Wing R or the Squadron R, like you said. And the phone lines have been cut. And Mandrake, the British officer, the adjunct officer, Peter Sellers' character says, well, but potentially we could call the Pentagon on the phone, on a payphone. And he's trying to prove to Keenan Wynn, don't shoot me. I'm trying to call the Pentagon to call back Wing R so we keep the world out of thermonuclear disaster. And he's just short 10 cents. It's a quarter to make the phone call. He puts in the nickel. And he goes, sir, you wouldn't have dime on you. And Keenan Wynn's response is, I love this line. You don't think I'd carry loose change into battle, do you? The world is lost. The world is lost not for a horseshoe, but for a dime.
That's property of the Coca-Cola Company.
That's another great line. That's property of the Coca-Cola Company.
But
that's private property.
I mean, there is kind of like a lot of similarities, though, right? It's like, they will be coming, they'll be dressed as Americans. So, if they get within 1,200 yards, like you open up. Like, what is going on, right? Like, I mean, I wonder what is going on right now. Big tech's like, the second the Russians come in there and start throwing grandmas out of windows, like you open up with the memes. But it's like, but it's not the Russians. It's your own. It's the Azov battalion. And maybe this is how the world was meant to go. Maybe it was just like a 2022 twist on Dr. Strangelove.
I love it. Tyrone, is it possible? I mean, if the internet gods are with us, that we could go to see if we could pull up a few scenes, select scenes, just maybe even the trailer for Dr. Strangelove, since we're in this bioweapons deadly embrace now, and none of us have a chance. None of us got the vaccine. Only the elites.
Doesn't matter. The vaccine doesn't matter.
We know.
It's gonna be cobalt thorium G. Cobalt thorium G. 50 to 100 megatons.
Here we go. Well, we're going to give it a go. Here at Neighborhood News Studio, even when all odds are against us, Tommy Carrigan is here. So we're going to make it happen for Tommy Carrigan.
Wing Attack Plan T.
Was it R?
Wing Attack Plan R. Yeah, no, I said T. Just Tommy.
Here we go. Enjoy this, everybody. We might watch party this whole thing and just stop it along the way. This could go crazy. It's only 3 minutes. Here we go, Tommy. You probably have another interview. Do you have another interview?
No, I did 2 earlier. No, 1 earlier.
Okay. All right, so we can watch party this. We find it on the web. Here we go.
Why would you keep?
A woman would have to be of a highly attractive nature.
Attractive, so that we may reproduce.
One man. A little more volume, please.
Attack Russia. Oh. Base.
10 females to each male.
Kill the machine. Blast off! Where's my shorts?
Where's the bathroom?
Doc, should I get it?
On the hotline.
Dr. Strangelove.
Or how I learned to stop worrying and
Love the bomb.
A moving picture.
I shouldn't tell you this, Mandrake, but you're a good officer and you have a right to know. It looks like we're in a shooting war.
Oh, hell. Are the Russians involved, sir?
Well, boys, I reckon this is it. Nuclear combat toe-to-toe with the Ruskies. I don't like the look of this, Fred. I tell you what you better do, old buddy.
I was under the impression that I was the only one in authority to order the use of nuclear weapons.
That's right, sir. You are the only person authorized to do so. And although I hate to judge before all the facts are in, it's beginning to look like General Ripper exceeded his authority.
I first became aware of it, Mandrake, during the physical act of love.
Missile still deflecting. Range 1 mile. Start lever to cut off. First engine power.
Has that plane really got a chance of getting through?
Well, sir, if the pilot's good, see, I mean, if he's really sharp, he can barrel that baby in solo. I mean, you ought to see it sometime. It's a sight. A big plane like a 52. It's jet exhaust, frying chickens in the barnyard.
Dr. Strangelove.
or how I learned to stop worrying and
Love the bomb.
A moving picture.
And of course, the great Tommy Carrigan is with us here. That movie produced by a young Stanley Kubrick. A young Stanley Kubrick produces
Kind
that.
of insane to think about is that movie came out less than 20 years after the first A-bomb detonation. So that was like, and it's 2 years after a Cuban Missile Crisis. So like you forget how like pertinent that really was.
And you can take every place where they say nuclear and just put in bio,
And we're right back.
and we're right to now.
Or a real
Right.
head fuck, you don't even need to remove it because all the nuclear weapons are still there.
Right. And I
We
mean,
dismantled half of them. Okay, now we can only blow up the world 10 times over instead of 20.
see, an elite doesn't think of it that way. Elite thinks that's why we did the bioweapons, because the nukes were stupid and were going to kill us too, right? We spent the last 50 years moving to bio so that it would just kill everybody who didn't have the super vax, didn't have the
So-
vaccine. I don't know how confident they are, but if this triggers World War DARPA, I hate to say it, but there's a guy who wrote a book about that around here.
George Webb.
I think it's George Webb wrote the book World War DARPA, and I wrote it way before the invasion. Wrote it a year ago, folks. World War DARPA. These DARPA technologies have brought us to the brink of nuclear and worldwide biowarfare.
Did you know you can get signed copies from George Webb?
How about this? This is the. It's not the book; it's a 400-page book, but there it is. There it is. World War DARPA.
I was going to say,
Wrote that a year ago, Tommy.
I was gonna
Wrote that a
say,
year
You
ago.
don't need to do it because it's over, the book is over your shoulder. Or no, never mind. That's None Dare Call It DARPA.
None Dare Call It DARPA was the precursor to that. You can get that too. And also, if you want to know exactly the little cabal that did it, Bavaria 911 shows you how the anthrax to corona was one big long program. So that's a beautiful story. Those are the three in the trilogy that I think get available at neighborhoodnewsstudio.com. All proceeds going to citizen journalists, supporting new citizen journalists. Did we get the plug in there? Yeah, we got the plug in there.
Guys, don't fall for them. It's all going to the Azov Battalion. This is a money laundering. Call DHS now. This is.
It's a trust operation.
Can you put the
You know
DHS
what's-
number up?
You know what I said? We're coming for you as of and all that. That was all to sell it,
Yeah,
right?
that was all. You got to sell the game. Who do you think's paying George and I? It's the CIA. It's the Mossad. Listen, we're on Team Schwab. We saw the writing on the wall. You've been duped. But it does make you think, right? Because the realization that nuclear weapons are stupid, right? Because you can't win
nuclear weapons are stupid
unless you can get that vaccine and use the sword and the shield against all the peons. You got to wonder, is that why Putin's threatening with nuclear war? Because he knows, hey, I know that you guys have your safe switch, and that's the universal vaccine. I'm going to do that which there is no vaccine against, just the old-fashioned, 1,500 megatons, Dr. Strangelove style, Cobalt Thorium G doomsday device.
Yeah. Well, and you I think you nailed it. Tyrone tells me that the internet is seemingly performing okay now. We got maybe hit with a DDoS attack. But you want to jump to some news, Tyrone? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm just letting you know.
Yeah. Well, why don't we do this? Let's go, because I'm having too much fun with Tommy here because he knows the movie like I know the movie. Let's go to the movie where there's a full hour. I think it's a short movie, an hour and 20, but let's jump cut from thing.
Let me go to the bathroom first.
You go to the bathroom, and while you're doing that, we'll play. You want to try to play your
little theme, yeah.
Play the theme. Give Tommy 2 minutes to go to the bathroom. This was created just for Tommy Carrigan here. So here we are. Kind of nice somebody creates something for you like this. This actually created that. I was inspired because of the pilot in my life with these clouds. That's supposed to be dedicated to her. But here we go. But I thought of, finding truth. You're on a search, you're on a globe, like Raiders of the Lost Ark. You're flying to find truth. Where is there going to be a home, an Alamo for truth? That's the kind of the concept that I came up with this morning, since I was under a deadline to get this done by noon. Can you believe that? I get it. I land here, Tyrone. I do a 5-hour thing, and then the guy running this joint says, "Hey, I would like a neighborhood news intro."
Fly here, then drive to Little Ukraine.
Oh, yeah, back and forth to Little Ukraine, too, and meeting with everybody at the bowling alley. Oh, my goodness. I did the whole Big Lebowski thing last night. Is that your bioweapon? When I was just going up to people with bowling balls going, is that your bioweapon, Mr. Ukraine? I got some strange looks.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah. One guy wouldn't let me go to the bathroom.
Yeah, you was asking about bioweapons.
I know. He was like, we're not going to let you go to the bathroom. I said, I was just joking with you. I was pretending everybody's bowling balls were bioweapons. They were Ukrainian spies. I was joking, but they had a good laugh. We had a good laugh. Parma, my sister lived in Parma her whole life. Here we go. You're going to play it. Okay, hello everyone. Look at the neighborhood news crew today. We're going to be doing a show at 11. Well, no, 11. Super secret. Well, there you have it. I got to do one of those now for Tommy. I've been told by the boss I got to have a Tommy montage with all the great guests he's had. And so here we go again. You know, I need to get paid more money in this job. Tommy, you're back.
Yes,
you're back. So we're going to go now. We're going to cut away to the movie. We're going to cut away this movie. It was I think 1962, 63. Four, okay. And it's right after the Cuban Missile Crisis. So, Dr. Strangelove. We're gonna cut through. We're gonna do something called jump cutting, and what that's gonna do is not gonna be reviewing the movie. It's just gonna be cutting to famous parts of the movie, and it's going to stimulate thinking about what's happening in Ukraine right now. So it's probably the most creative possible gaming. Wargaming that anybody in the world is doing right now. So the Pentagon's probably tuning in. We'll let a few more minutes for the DARPA guys to come in, and we'll wargame this for you through the use of the magic of media. And interesting. We don't need to now. Let's not steal the movie. The first thing Tyrone goes to is you young guys know how to rip. What do they call that? When you can rip. There it is. See that Dr. Strangelove 1964? Two down with the guy with the cigar. There, that one. That's the one we want. You guys know, is it the DRM, Digital Rights Management? Is that what's happening here?
Yeah, who cares?
Who cares? You guys, in my day, well, it was before me. There was this Napster. Okay, so we're going to jump.
Napster, LimeWire.
Yeah, LimeWire and all that, which basically just paid for a whole bunch of infrastructure. Okay, so these are the guys that are keying in a 3-digit code. This was sort of like trying to imitate the Enigma machine that the Nazis had.
Yeah.
See how the Nazis are always placing a little, what do you call that, a MacGuffin into their story to give themselves a little credit? What do they call that? When you place something that's like your girlfriend's teddy bear or whatever in the shot to a little personal aside kind of thing.
Yeah, I got you. Now I don't know what the name is, but
yeah. So here they are. They're going toward nuclear war has been started. I think we're ahead in the movie a little bit. Or each minute. Let's go a little bit further forward. Let's go a little further forward. Okay, let's go back a little bit now. This is some good drama here. Okay, right there. There's Slim Pickens. They're keying in all the codes for the launch codes. Just about halfway through the movie. We'll pick it up with Slim Pickens. Now we're going to go to the war room. And what's happened here is Adlai Stevenson has invited the actual Russian premier into the war room for the first time. You can see the premier, even though there's world war, the precipice of world war, he's secretly stealing food off the buffet table, the Joint Chiefs buffet table. And it's unbecoming behavior. And the concierge here is saying, no, actually all the food is free. So you don't need to steal it. So here we go. No volume? Yeah. Here we go.
Mr. President, we haven't been able to reach Premier Kissock on the Kremlin. They say they don't
Little
know and won't be back for another 2 hours.
Try BA-6543 Moscow.
Yes, sir.
You would never have found him through his office, Mr. President. Our premier is a man of the people, but he's also a man, if you follow my meaning.
What did you say? I said Premier Kissov is a degenerate atheist.
Mr. President, former President.
I'm sorry.
Mr. President, I think they're trying the number.
And this is right where we are now. So imagine this.
This
is happening in the Pentagon as we speak.
What is going on here? I demand an explanation. This clumsy fool tried to plant that ridiculous camera on me.
Yeah, you bet your sweets, Mr. Commie. Look at this, Mr. President. This lousy commie rat was taking pictures with this thing of the big board.
Mr. Ambassador, this clumsy fool attempted to plant that ridiculous camera on me.
That's a damn lie. I saw him with my own eyes.
Gentlemen, this is outrageous. I have never heard of such behavior in the war room before.
Mr. President, I think they're getting him on the line.
Come in, Dnepro. Come in, Dnepro. This is Dnepro. Is this a live feed, Tyrone? Here we go. Azov Brigade.
Yeah, open up at 1,200 meters.
Tommy, feel free to narrate here along the way as the Azov Brigade rolls in.
I want to see if I actually got the number right. They
I told
those commies.
even got our uniforms.
Gee, those trucks sure look like the real thing, don't they? I wonder where they got them from. Probably bought them from the army as war surplus.
Figured it out.
Okay. Open up at 200 yards.
Ah, 200, damn it.
200, that's pretty close. Okay, we can fast forward a little bit to Sterling Hayden. The irony. Here we go. We'll go back.
Hello,
Now, here's what they're going to do: is they're going to call. They're going to. You can right there is fine. They're going to call the other premier and see if they can head off the those planes that you see in the little lines going over toward the Soviet Union. They're going to try to head off them at the pass by calling in the recall code. Here we go.
I've done as you asked. Be careful, Mr. President. I think he is drunk.
Hello? Hello, Dmitri. Listen, I can't hear too well. Do you suppose you could turn the music down just a little? Oh, that's much better. Yes. Fine, I can hear you now, Dmitri. Clear and plain and coming through fine. I'm coming through fine too, eh? Good. Then, as you say, we're both coming through fine. Good. Well, it's good that you're fine and I'm fine. I agree with you. It's great to be fine. Now then, Dmitri.
About that nuclear war and biological war.
We've always talked about the possibility of something going wrong with the bomb.
The bomb, Dmitri.
The bioweapons bomb.
Well, now, what happened is one of our base commanders, he had a sort of, he went a little funny in the head. Just a little funny. And he went and did a silly thing. Well, I'll tell you what he did. He ordered his planes to attack your country. Well, let me finish, Dmitri. Well, listen, how do you think I feel about it? Can you imagine how I feel about it, Dmitri? Why do you think I'm calling you? Just to say hello? Of course I like to speak to you. Of course I like to say hello. Not now, but anytime, Dmitri. I'm just calling up to tell you something terrible has happened. It's a friendly call. Of course it's a friendly call. Listen, if it wasn't friendly, you probably wouldn't have even got it. They will not reach their targets for at least another hour. I am positive, Dmitri. Listen, I've been all over this with your ambassador. It is not a trick. Well, I'll tell you. We'd like to give your air staff a complete rundown on the targets, the flight plans, and the defensive systems of the planes. Yes, I mean, if we're unable to recall the planes, then I'd say that, we're just going to have to help you destroy them, Dimitri.
The Azov plan.
I know they're our boys. All right, well, listen, now who should we call? Who should we call, Dimitri? The people, sorry, you faded away there. The People's Central Air Defense Headquarters. Where is that, Dimitri? In Omsk, right? Yes. Oh, you're calling first, will you? Uh-huh. Listen, do you happen to have the phone number on you, Dimitri?
All right, we're going to move ahead here a little bit.
I see. Just ask for Omsk.
Just ask for Omsk.
Why do you realize that
Now, what's happening here is
70% of
this adjunct officer that Peter Sellers is playing, the British officer, he's trying to talk to Kolomoisky here and tell him not to launch the bio bomb. And Kolomoisky's saying, no, if Azov Brigade's going out, we're
all going out.
We're sending bio in every direction. Here we go.
Mandrake. Mandrake, have you never wondered why I drink only distilled water or rainwater and only pure grain alcohol?
Well, it did occur to me, Jack, yes.
Have you ever heard of a thing called fluoridation? Fluoridation of water?
Yes, I have heard of that, Jack, yes.
Well, do you know what it is?
No. I don't know what it is now.
Do you realize that fluoridation is the most monstrously conceived and dangerous communist plot we have ever had to face?
Kolomoisky's. This is Kolomoisky and Dnipro.
Nice shooting, soldier!
Keeps the belt fed.
Mandrake, come here.
You're calling me, Jack?
Come over here and help me with this belt.
I haven't had very much experience, with those sort of machines, Jack. I've only ever pressed a button in my old Spitfire.
Mandrake, in the name of Her Majesty and the Continental Congress, come here and feed me this belt, boy.
Jack, I'd love to come, but what's happened? You see, the string in my leg's gone.
The what?
And the string, I never told you, but you see, got a gammy leg. Oh dear, gone, shot off.
Mandrake, come over here. The redcoats are coming. Come on.
When it is detonated, it will produce enough evil radioactive fallout so that within 10 months, the surface of the Earth will be as dead as the moon.
That's ridiculous. Our studies show that even the worst fallout is down to a safe level after 2 weeks.
You've obviously never heard of cobalt thorium G.
Well, what about it?
Cobalt thorium G has a radioactive half-life of 93 years. If you take, say, 50 H-bombs in the 100 megaton range and jacket them with cobalt thorium G, when they are exploded, they will produce a doomsday shroud, a lethal cloud of radioactivity which will encircle the Earth for 93 years.
What a load of commie bull. I mean, after all. Afraid I don't understand something, Alexei. Is the Premier threatening to explode this if our planes carry out their attack?
No, sir. It is not a thing a sane man would do. The doomsday machine is designed to trigger itself automatically.
But surely you can disarm it somehow?
No, it is designed to explode if any attempt is ever made to untrigger it.
Automatically? It's an obvious commie trick, Mr. President. We're wasting valuable time. Look at the board. They're getting ready to clobber us. But this is absolute madness, Ambassador. Why should you build such a thing?
There were those of us who fought against it, but in the end we could not keep up with the expense involved in the arms race, the space race, and the peace race. And at the same time, our people grumbled for more nylons and washing machines. Our doomsday scheme cost us just a small fraction of what we've been spending on defense in a single year. But the deciding factor was when we learned that your country was working along similar lines, and we were afraid of a doomsday gap.
This is preposterous. I've never approved of anything like that.
Our source was the New York Times.
Dr. Strangelove, do we have anything like that in the works?
Okay, now pause here really
President.
briefly. This is where the cameo of all cameos here, where he plays the third part. Okay, now let's just take this up to right now, Tommy. Kolomoisky has a doomsday weapon. It's bio cloud for 93 years in all directions. We don't know if it's going to work or not. If the vaccine's going to work or not. But don't go for it. We're going to listen to see if Kissinger has the vaccine or not. Well, can you go forward, Tyrone, to him wheeling his chair? There, perfect.
Was that this idea was not a practical deterrent for reasons which at this moment must be all too obvious.
Then you mean it is possible for them to have built such a thing?
Mr. President, the technology required is easily within the means of even the smallest nuclear power. It requires only the will to do so.
But how is it possible for this thing to be triggered automatically and at the same time impossible to untrigger?
Mr. President, it is not only possible, it is essential. That is the whole idea of this machine, you know. Deterrence is the art of producing in the mind of the enemy the fear to attack. And so, because of the automated and irrevocable decision-making process which rules out human meddling, the doomsday machine is terrifying. It's simple to understand and completely credible and convincing.
Now we'll stop it here.
We had one of them doomsday machines.
Tommy, do you feel that this could be happening in the
right now? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, where they go, hey, do you think he's got it? Where he's got the universal vaccine? Do you really think it's going to work? And Kissinger is explaining. Well, I mean, what do you think?
I think, yeah, I mean, how else do you keep NATO from intervening in Ukraine and bombing Russia to shit? You have a credible fear in their minds that Putin really will. See, I don't think it's even bioweapons, though. I think it's actually probably identical to Dr. Strangelove. He's going, screw the bioweapon thing. He's like, I'll just start just letting nukes off the handle. There's no vaccine against that. It will destroy life on Earth.
True. Wow. Now that you put it that way, it is exactly what might be happening in the Pentagon right now is what you're telling me.
Well, I mean, think about it. I mean, Kolomoisky, I mean, all those guys, they enjoy life on Earth. They all have condos. They all have yachts. Like, that's why they don't like nuclear, because nuclear is the end of all of it. Bioweapons, you can get that universal vaccine and just wipe out the useless eaters. But if Putin goes back to the whole, he goes, well, let's not play, let's go back to MAD. Mutual assured destruction. Your universal vaccine won't mean anything when there is a wave of Cobalt Thorium G in the stratosphere for the next 93 years. And that's the only way you can keep. I mean, that's the beauty of mutual assured destruction.
Okay, we'll go back to our movie, Tyrone. This is kind of exciting, isn't it? Oh, okay. No, okay. His mic's off. Oh, sorry. Okay. We'll play it forward here. And the Americans wish they had one. Here we go.
But this is fantastic, Strangelove. How can it be triggered automatically?
Well, it's remarkably simple to do that. When you merely wish to bury bombs, there's no limit to the size. After that, they are connected to a gigantic complex of computers. Now then, a specific and clearly defined set of circumstances under which the bombs are to be exploded is programmed into a tape memory bank. A single word of shape
Strangelove.
can store all the information.
What kind of a name is that? That ain't no crowd name, is it, Stan?
The 25
Changed it when he became a citizen.
Used to be
Liebe. Not proud by any other name,
Paperclip. They get the paperclip reference in there. NATO
The
paperclip.
point of the doomsday machine is lost. If you keep it a secret, why didn't you tell the world, eh?
It was to be announced at the party congress on Monday. As you know, the premier loves surprises.
All right, we'll move forward through the battle scenes here. Peace is our mission. Although we might miss the Keenan Wynn scene where he's saying, "You don't think I'd carry loose change into battle?" We're going to risk that. Maybe a little bit forward here. We're toward the end of the movie here, folks. Oh, okay. We'll go through the Sterling Hayden firing the shots here, and we'll go out to when Mandrake goes to the phone booth.
FYI, George, I gotta bounce at 7 p.m. sharp, so I got like 5-6 minutes.
Okay, this is the final scene. Here we go. Play this one.
You know, those clowns outside are going to give me a pretty good going over in a few minutes for the code.
Yes, well, you may have quite a point there, Jack.
I don't know how well I could stand up under torture.
Well, of course, the answer to that is, boy, no one ever does. And my advice to you, Jack, is to give me the code now. And if those devils come back and try and erupt stuff, we'll fight them together, boy, like we did just now on the floor, eh? You with your gun, and me with the belt and the ammo, feeding you, Jack. Feed me, you said, and I was feeding you, Jack.
No, Mandrake. I happen to believe in a life after this one. I know I'll have to answer what I've done. I think I can.
Yes, well, of course you can, Jack. Of course you can. You can. I'm a religious man myself, you know, Jack. I believe in all that sort of thing, and I'm hoping, you know, Jack. You drop your gun, Jack. Yes. You know what I'm... Yeah, no, Jack, let me take that for you. I'll take that for you, Jack. And you know what I'm hoping, Jack? I'm hoping you're going to give me the code, boy. That's what I'm hoping. And, you're going to have a little wash and brush up, are you? What a good idea. Always did wonders for a man, that, Jack. A little wash and brush up, water on the back of the neck, and makes you feel marvelous. That's what we need, Jack. Water on the back of the neck and the code. Now, supposing I play a little guessing game with you, Jack, boy. I'll try and guess what the code is.
Okay, and we'll have to leave it right there, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have to leave it right there. The world in suspense. Will Kolomoisky, the Kolomoisky code, be instructed by any of the Azov underlings to stop World War III? Remember the book. It's called World War DARPA. It's available at neighborhoodnewsstudio.com. Tommy Carrigan, in your last few minutes here, give us your thoughts.
I don't know if we'll see it all. I don't think it is World War III. I think there probably is, all jokes aside, there's probably something similar to Dr. Strangelove going on right now. And I think we will opt out of nuclear, because again, it doesn't matter if you're in the World Economic Forum if the world's just radioactive ash. I think that we will see Putin given an out, and we will all look back and go, that was kind of weird. Remember when everyone thought it was going to be World War III, and then like Putin just kind of withdrew and Ukraine gave up some stuff. And then it will come out in like 80 years that there was a Cuban Missile Crisis-esque moment. I mean, no one ever really learned about 1983 Able Archer until years later. Able Archer we got closer to the end of the world than we did in the Cuban Missile Crisis. But that was kept secret for a while because there's just a lot of major fuck-ups on both sides. I think that's probably what we're going to see. And it's, again, kind of beautifully almost, you don't need these hyper-advanced nanoparticulate furin cleavage site vaccines. It's like he says, it's even a relatively simple nation could do it. It's just going to be thermonuclear warheads. It's going to go, I don't know what bioweapons you have and universal vaccine you have and molecular biology you have and CRISPR technology. Here's just an old 3-stage thermonuclear warhead that will just let this fucker off the hook. There might be some beauty in the simplicity of thermonuclear mutual assured destruction.
Well, on that cheery thought, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have Tommy Carrigan back next Sunday. We believe it's going to be 2:00. It could be 5.
Yes, sir. Yeah, today was an exception.
2:00. And remember, we'll have an explanation of the Abel Archer incident. Not now. Abel Archer incident next Sunday. Tommy Carrigan live. Thanks, Tommy, for joining us. Play us out, would you, Tyrone?
Thank you, sir. I'm going to get on out of here. George, I'll send you the episode when it's up. And as always, my friend, good chatting with you.
Thank you, brother.
Take it easy, George.